Hey guys, Dan with Grit Overland. We're here in a Link 148 all-wheel drive on the Ford Transit chassis. As you can see, we've got the sink opened up. The winter is coming. The season is changing. It's fall. It's cold out today. And we thought this would be a great time to talk through winterizing your Link in the way that we prefer to do it. We're going to winterize it by blowing it out with an air compressor today. It's super easy to do. If you have an onboard air compressor that you've had us install or you installed yourself, you can do it usually in about the same amount of time that it takes to fill up with a tank of gas. If not, it's pretty easy to do with a regular air compressor. We've already provided the parts for you to do it. So let's just talk through that really quick. You open up your kit that came with the van. Here's the shower handle for the indoor and the outdoor shower. And then inside your kit, you'll have two provided parts. One is your pressure regulator. We're going to use that. But then inline also, we're going to screw into that pressure regulator the air compressor attachment. So that's a Schrader valve. And we're just going to hook the air compressor to that. And then we're going to do a couple things behind this. We've already parked the van up on a curb to really lean the van backward to help empty all of the water out of the freshwater tank and the gray water tank, because the low point drains are on the back of both of those tanks. So I like to do it this way. It makes it go a little bit faster. And then we're going to blow air out of the faucet and the indoor and the outdoor shower. And we're going to show that whole process on this video. You guys hope this helps. Let's just get started. What I'll do is I'll actually hook that air compressor to the water fill port. Take the cap off of the Schrader valve and then actually screw on my air compressor. Or if you have the ARB onboard air compressor that we maybe installed or you installed yourself or had another shop install, it's cool because it'll clip on and you can just leave it hanging, and this becomes really a one-person job. Super easy. Woo! Little breezy in the gorge today. A couple of things to think about. You've got the outdoor shower, you've got the indoor shower, you've got the sink, but you also have multiple settings, this valve here. So we want to make sure that we blow out all of the valve things, the tank fill, the winterize, sanitize, city fixtures, and onboard, just to make sure that there's not pressurized water sitting in there that can freeze over the winter time. And we want to get it just down to drops. And you'll see that as we blow the different fixtures out. It's still okay to have a little bit of water in there as long as it's just droplets of water, but it's spitting, you know, mostly air. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we do this. So if you take a look inside here, step number one is to open your low point drain. And now what you'll hear and see, you'll see the low point drain draining water out of the system. And we can just let that go and do what it's going to do. And we can start blowing out the system as well through the other sides with the air compressor. So now that the air compressor is already hooked up, we're just going to go ahead and go through the different settings here. First one, I'm going to go to tank fill. That way it blew that out. Now I'm going to go to city fixtures and actually blow out the fixtures. We'll start with the faucet inside. And what will happen is it'll go through all of the water first that's in the system and start blowing air. And real important thing, a reminder is, this is on cold right now. Make sure you get hot and cold, because as you can see when I switched it to hot, you've got water in that line as well. And we want to make sure that we get both the hot and cold lines blown out completely. While I'm doing this, I like to kick on my water pump. Right now it's not going to do a lot, but I'm just going to leave it on because I want it to get both sides when we go back to that air compressor side and we bypass with the valve back there. So you should be spitting minimal water. Oftentimes I'll switch back just in case, get water stuck in the low points of the system and in the mixing valves. So for the most part, that's gotten that out. And you can hear the compressors just running back there. Sorry if that's loud on the camera. And then I will grab the indoor shower hose. Make sure those are both off before I get sprayed. Simply put the indoor shower handle up, turn both of those valves on. And there shouldn't be a whole lot coming out of this. What I usually like to do is turn both of them on, then turn one off and turn the other one on, just to make sure I'm catching any air. In a link from Grit Overland, you've got the faucet and the indoor shower on the same circuit right here. So they're pretty much, we got most of the water out of that line right away from the first opening the faucet. So now after I've done that, I'll close that off because now that will trap air in there. And we want that air to stay in there. And I'll turn my faucet back on just in case it pushed any water back into that section of the tubing. You can see it's picking up the little last bits of water. So we'll let that be for now. And then let's go do the outdoor shower. There's a lot of water in there. It was at like 70% when we started this process. What I'll do for now is just turn that compressor off while we're back here hooking this up. Same process, just different fixture slightly. And so now I'm just gonna go ahead and turn the air compressor back on and then spray out the rear shower as well. And you can see as I switch around from different sections of the valve, you can hear the air move into different spaces. Now if we go into tank fill again, you'll hear it's actually blowing air into the water tank. And the water tank still has a lot to drain right now. So usually, ideally, you'll let the water tank do its thing first and empty the full water tank before you start the whole process. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna now at this point just let the freshwater tank finish draining and let it do its thing. And then we'll come and do a final pass on all this on the fixtures and show you that really you should just have little bits of water in there. And again, really what we're avoiding in this space is you don't want water sitting that's filled a whole compartment. If you have little droplets of water in there, it's not a big deal if those droplets freeze. So the next piece of winterizing your van is you've got two water tanks, right? You have the fresh water tank, which we've talked about. We're draining that. And when we're finished, we'll finish off the winterizing process. But you also have your heated gray water tank. So when you're ready to winterize this, it's really easy. You've got your waste pump button. But before we do that, we're gonna pull the lever underneath the van. So you're gonna reach under here and pull this little lever out. And that, now with us parked up on the curb, you can see that the low point drain comes out here. And so that macerator pump will really pick up, and I'm gonna turn on the waste pump now. And it's loud on purpose, but you can hear it priming. And then if you come around to the other side of the van, you'll see it really shooting all of that water out of there. And that's all there is to that. What I really pay attention to, and two things I want to point out when you're dumping your gray water, whether it's to winterize or any other time, is really listening for that high pitch, because a waste pump, it moves a lot of water really fast. It will self-prime, but it's not designed to run dry for a long period of time, so you can damage it if you leave it on. So while you're doing this process, stay with your van, listen to the frequency of this, because when it starts to run dry, you'll hear that it gets a much louder, higher pitch, and that's when you know it's time to turn that thing off. Okay guys, so our gray water tank is done emptying. We're just gonna finish off. Our fresh water tank is now, the low point drain is done. So I'm gonna close the low point drain again, right inside here. And this is where I'm really gonna get my water pump picked up. So right now it's on onboard, and I'm gonna spray the rest of the water out of the tubing, and then we'll turn the air compressor on one last time behind that. So now what I'm gonna do as I finish this winterizing process, I'm gonna leave it on city fixtures, because what that does is it allows the air compressor to bypass all of this valve. And now I'll go finish my other 2 fixtures in the van. And then this winterizing process will be pretty much done, other than putting everything away. So now we're back in this at the sink with the indoor shower. We've left it on city fixtures. And as you can see, we're picking up the last little bits of water that are left in the lines, bypassing that freshwater tank and the water pump. And as you can see, it's blowing pretty much air with little spits of water here and there. For most of the areas in the country, this is totally sufficient. But again, if you're in an area where it gets 20, 30, 40 below and you're concerned about your system and you feel more comfortable putting that potable water antifreeze in there, put it in. It's fairly easy to do. You just use the siphon or the Winterize antifreeze section, cut off about a 2 or 3 foot hose, put a funnel on the top of it, and then pour it in with that siphon on there and running the pump, and it will pump it into your system. That way is pretty functional. This is adequate for the vast majority of people, and we've never had a problem doing it this way. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Recording it took us a little bit longer. If I had already been using most of my water coming back from a trip, the process takes about 5 or 8 minutes, no big deal. And that's all there is to it, you guys. Hopefully this is helpful. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. Any of you that are seeing us for the first time, we would love to have you come to the facility, do a facility tour, and see what's behind the scenes. There's a couple of cards we keep close to our chest, and if you'd like to see those, you're welcome to come see them at our factory.